Okay. Fuck. Just want to say fuck. That's what this is. This is just a whole lot of fuck. Because there is anger that needs to express. And a whole lot of other things. And this is complicated. And I don't know how well I'm going to articulate this, because a lot of my intention is to let this emotion flow. And that means not thinking. Which is a struggle for me a lot of times. And especially right now, thinking, observing everything that's happening inside of me. I'm very aware that ego loves drama. I'm aware of that, but I'm also aware that it is also ego that shuts down anger and judges that as inappropriate. I'm aware that it is ego that feels shame. And I'm also aware that it's ego that shames. But I've had this notion around anger for a long time, and I've seen it come up, and it came up today in a video that I had watched of another person just talking about how anger is shut down in the spiritual community. That, oh, if you're a spiritual person, you're not allowed to feel anger. Anger is not spiritual. And there has been repeatedly a deep part of myself that feels deeper, and it feels bigger than than me, that just revolts against that. And I want to be really honest. I don't know. Maybe it is just ego. But there is something deep in me that feels more archetypical. It feels more like this feminine energy. Maybe it would be called just the dark aspect that says anger is righteous. There's a righteous quality to this. This is not, it's a different level of anger. It's not the kind of anger that is somebody cut you off in traffic. It's not the kind of anger that is somebody called you an insulting name. It's not even the kind of anger over, I don't know, being charged twice for something. Or it's the kind of anger that is maybe closer to being accused of something that you haven't done. And I want to recognize too that there's ego, there has to be ego involved in that, I'm sure, because the soul knows that there is no wrong. And if it's done no wrong, I don't know, it perceives that there is no threat in anything. And so I acknowledge that some level of this has to do with perceiving threat, but it just feels deeper than that. It took me back to this energy that came through a couple of months ago, that I saw this angry gray cat hissing, livid, and it wasn't aggressive, but it was defensive, and it was defending itself. It was, you're not gonna fucking touch me kind of energy, just point blank. You are not gonna touch me with this. Fuck off. That was that energy, and it had a lot to do with insisting that the masculine take responsibility for itself. which means not making the feminine responsible for how it feels. Just a preface. Because I want to be open about all of this, because that's my intention. I want to be totally open, and I don't want to try to present myself as right and another as wrong, or vice versa. I just want to express what is and what I'm feeling and where it's coming from. My partner, the person that I am deeply, profoundly in love with and connected to at a level that is impossible to describe. We met at work, and we work together, and we work with a small business, and there are not a lot of people there. And I have no shame around physical affection and being overtly affectionate. And I see no issue with expressing that anywhere. And I understand that we live in a society that has so much to do with being polite and upholding decorum and not being inappropriate and not making people uncomfortable with your behavior. And I just want to recognize that I know it's really difficult to pull apart what is ego responding to this and what feels deeper. And I don't want to judge any of it. I just want to express it openly. I was a people pleaser for so long. For so long, I changed so many parts of myself to make other people comfortable. And I was quiet, and I was reserved, and I was small. But there's always been this piece. And again, I want to acknowledge that maybe it is just ego. But it still feels deeper because it has to do with authentically expressing myself. This part that just refused to budge on my authentic expression. If something felt true to me, then I had to do it. I had to do it, whether it upset other people or not. And it has become clearer and clearer to me over time as I have taken responsibility for my own emotion, my own emotional experience, that if I feel uncomfortable with someone else's behavior, that is for me to look at. That's for me. That's not something about them that needs to change. And I take that all the way. There is no exclusion in that. I take that all the way to the most extreme point of if someone were to physically assault me, I would have some feelings about that. Yes, I would. But I wouldn't blame that person for those feelings. Because I take responsibility for my creation of reality and my experience of it. And I recognize that not everyone does that, and not everyone is ready for that. And that's okay. But also, I'm fucking frustrated. Also, I feel this incredible amount of frustration. To just summarize the rest of the situation being that other people at work have expressed discomfort with my level of physical affection with my partner there. And now it's my higher up wants to talk to me, to have a discussion with me about it. And essentially that it is inappropriate and this and that and whatever. And I am not saying that they are wrong. I am not saying that anyone is wrong. Because no one is wrong. But I have to honor, I want to honor. Yes, this deeply triggered me in a multitude of ways. And that's for me to look at, and that's what I'm doing. But primarily, I want to express this emotion. The soul does not feel shame. I believe that firmly. Shame is a form of fear. The soul is shameless because it knows that it is blameless and it doesn't blame anyone. There's no blame involved. The soul doesn't see fault. It doesn't experience discomfort. It invites all sensation, present and experience, to be there. It wants it all. And it knows, it recognizes that everything that is a part of this experience of reality is asked for. It judges no one, it resists no one in what is brought to the experience. And so I want to also recognize that certainly this is something that has been created. I am a part of this creation. There is a part of me that wants this. There's a part of me that wants this situation. There's a part of me that wants this tension, perhaps even to feel the sense of otherness. I want to absolutely acknowledge that and not judge that I am creating this. This is not other people creating in my reality. I want to acknowledge that. And maybe there's just a desire to feel wrong, to feel inappropriate, to be called inappropriate. And at the same time, there's this deep thing in me that is insisting there is no such thing. And it recognizes that statement is wildly controversial in the society that we currently live in. It recognizes that. To say something like nothing is inappropriate. And this is where voices like Abraham Hicks lose people. Because people are not ready to hear that kind of statement. And to accept that as a part of their experience. And that's okay, and I understand that. But I feel it deeply within me. I feel it deeply within me. There is this core feminine energy that says there is nothing inappropriate about being. All of it is spirit, all of it is divine, point blank, period, nothing excluded. And it feels particularly outraged that the expression of love would be put in that category. It is this wild feminine energy, wild, sexual, untamed, unapologetic. This wild woman energy that doesn't give a fuck if people are uncomfortable with it. In fact, bring it on. Let people be uncomfortable. It is this energy that says, I am sick and fucking tired of catering to other people, of considering other people's comfort. I'm not going out there with the intent to harm, with the intent to make people uncomfortable. Maybe there is a piece, and I want to acknowledge that too. Maybe there is probably definitely a part of me that wants to make people uncomfortable so that they examine this in themselves, and maybe a part that just likes the power of that, because I want to be as fucking open and honest about all of this as I can. I'm sure there's a part of me that likes that feeling of power. But there is this deep part that says, If other people are uncomfortable with me, that is their shit. That's their shit. If I'm uncomfortable with something someone else is doing, that's my shit. That's for me to look at. That's not on them. I don't blame them for that. And I don't expect them to change to cater to my comfort. That's my role. Nobody else creates in my reality. Nobody is making me feel. It's just this, take fucking responsibility for your own emotions. Nobody is making you feel. If you think someone is making you feel uncomfortable, look at the power you're giving them. Look, you're giving your power away. You are painting yourself into the box of victim and them, villain, or some other powerful figure, and you're giving away your power over your own experience. Stop fucking doing that. That's what this says. And yes, I have to let this through. I've repressed anger too many goddamn times in my life. Right or fucking wrong, it doesn't matter. This has to come out. This voice will not be silenced. That's a part of it. It's just, I'm not going to shut up anymore. I am not going to be silent about this anymore. Your emotions are your responsibility. Fucking own that. Take that responsibility. I'm not going to lead you by the hand any longer. This is yours. This is your reality, your experience. Take ownership of it. Stop painting other people as responsible for it. And it's this refusal to take on the projection. Refusal to take on the projection of being responsible for another's experience. I don't accept it. That is not my role. That is not my place. I am not your God. I do not create in your world. You do. And if I'm angry right now, it's not because of you. It's not because of you. You're not making me feel angry. And I don't blame you for it. And it's not a thing that needs to change. That too, this anger is not bad. It's not wrong. It's not unwanted. I want it. I want to feel this. I want this energy to move through me as fully, as powerfully as it can. That's my choice. That's not your responsibility. It's not wrong to be here. I'm not trying to change it. I'm not asking you to change it. I'm just expressing it. I am expressing it. I am not angry at anyone. I'm just feeling fucking anger. And that is more than allowed. That is a good thing. It is a good thing to feel. There is no bad emotion. All of it is good. All of it is here for us to experience. We want all of it. And I'm grateful that this is allowing me to tap into what has been a deeply repressed emotional experience in myself. How many times have I cut off anger in my life, in this life, in past lives? And this is allowing me to tap into it. And I am so fucking grateful for that. The wild woman is sick and tired of other people making their shit her responsibility. She's not going to make her shit other people's responsibility. She's owning this experience. This is hers. This belongs to her. And she is proud of it. She'll not be ashamed. She will not let shame rule her experience. Not fucking anymore. She's not going to tame herself. She's not going to contain herself. She's not certainly going to expect anybody else to do so. She will invite discomfort. She's inviting it now. She's ready. Bring it the fuck on. It's here. It's happening. This vessel is very unfamiliar with this level of anger. There is a deep, seething rage And ego has all kinds of things to say about it. But it's here. It's here. It is what is. The madness would be denying it. The insanity would be trying to shut it down, repressing it, pretending that it doesn't exist, calling it inappropriate, shaming it away. No. There's a fierce feminine no that I hear. That is just, it's the rejection of illusion. It is the fierce feminine energy, the destructive feminine energy that cuts through bullshit, that cuts through deception. That's the energy of Kali, of Durga. That's Shakti energy. That's why all of those goddesses are depicted with all the arms and all the weapons, slaying demons. It is that energy which says, I don't accept it. I do not accept your projection of illusion, the illusion being that I create in your reality, that I have somehow harmed you, that I have somehow affected you negatively. That's not possible. That's not possible. There is no harm. Stop buying into that illusion. It's a slap in the face, shaking somebody to wake the fuck up kind of energy. And I recognize that in this instance, it changes nothing. It changes nothing. I will have to appease what is being asked of me. There are numbers against this. And I want to acknowledge again, there's certainly going to be there is a part of ego that wants to feel like the outcast, that wants to feel like it's me against the world, that wants to feel like the bad guy, that wants to feel like a victim. That's here too. That's here too. And so some of this feminine rage is directed at that. Absolutely. Which is why this is all so fucking twisted and confused inside of myself, and I just had to speak. We live in a society that is offended by love. We live in a society that calls love inappropriate. It wants the purified, that purified is not even, this is pure love. It wants the dumbed down version. That's what it wants. It wants the teeny tiny, minute portion of the spectrum. Love that's only allowed in certain situations and places. That's what it wants. That's not love. That's not how feminine loves. That's not how spirit loves. Spirit doesn't love you sometimes in some places. Spirit doesn't tone it down to be more appropriate. Spirit doesn't filter. Spirit doesn't limit the love that it's flowing over you at all fucking times. Spirit is orgasmically loving you every moment, whether you are in church, whether you are at work, at school. Spirit is loving you the same way, unabashed, unashamed, naked, fully, erotically. There is a reason that Eros is the god of love. And true agape, true love, the love that we know as for all soul, includes eros. It includes all kinds of love. It's not a separate kind, it's all kinds at once. That's agape. That's the love of source. Every form of love that you can comprehend simultaneously. All of it. There's a reason the Song of Solomon is erotic. And it is the description of the love of source. The love of God for the people, the love of masculine for feminine, and vice versa. That is love. But we live in a society that calls that level of love inappropriate. And is it any fucking wonder that we struggle to love ourselves? Because we have made love criminal. We have become ashamed of the thing that we are, and that is the original sin. That's fucking it. Adam looking down at himself and being ashamed of his nakedness, of the purity of his being, of the vulnerability of himself being what he is. The shame of self, the shame of source, because that's what you are. The shame of love in its fullest form. Is it any wonder society is so sad? This energy is outraged that we would call our true nature inappropriate. That we would shame the following of that true nature. It's a bitter disappointment. It's saying, how can you not see that you are judging yourself in this judgment that you think is of another, in telling them to change? Can you not see that this is a furthering of the separation from yourself? That you are, in condemning another for their actions, condemning yourself? And in this instance, condemning another for the expression of love, which is the purest, most authentic, essential, natural way of your being. I don't know if I can even bring all of this through. There's so much here. I still feel angry. I still feel it. And I know there's layers of this. There have been so many times, again, that I've repressed anger and things that I've been, ways I have been told that I have hurt people. When I have behaved only according to my own desire, with no intent to harm. Again, this is all controversial, and I get that. I do. I don't care. Because once again, if there is anything that I have said that makes somebody uncomfortable, that is for them to look at. And all of this is for me. All of this is for me. to look at. Because there was a part of myself, there still is, there's a part of myself that is deeply uncomfortable with other people being uncomfortable with me. And so again, this energy is directed at that too. But I'm not uncomfortable with this anger. I'm glad this is here. I'm grateful this is here. It's bigger. It's bigger than just me. I know it is. It's just the whole stop letting other people control your experience by you making them responsible for it, by blaming them for the way that you feel, for the way that you perceive something. And that includes me, of course, absolutely, necessarily. That includes me. So again, I recognize this is my creation. Any situation that I call unwanted or disliked, it's not so. It's something I asked for. It's something that is satisfying a part of me. It is something that is fulfilling some desire within me. No one has ever harmed me. There is no harm happening here. No one can harm me. It's not possible. Even the destruction of this physical form would not be a harm to me. There is a deep desire for others to acknowledge that same truth. And a recognition that all I can do is stand in my knowledge of that myself. That there is no harm. That as much as other people are perhaps projecting, proclaiming that I have harmed them by way of discomfort, I recognize that that is not true. But also that their projection of my harming them does not harm me. Right? This is not a threat to me. This is not a threat to me. So let it be what it is. This is my expression. I own it. I make none responsible for it. Only myself. And anything that I am resisting, I recognize is desired at a deep level. It's 33 when I looked up. And I desire for others to do the same. That is a strong desire. And I recognize there is a desire to feel anger. And to let it flow openly. Nothing has gone wrong. Nothing has gone wrong, nor can it possibly. Not in my experience, not in any others. All is well. All is well. Anger is not indicative of a problem. There is no problem here. Just energy expressing. And I am grateful to have expressed it, to have this opportunity to be a conduit, and to have this experience and to give myself permission to feel it. Who cares? So what? So be it. What the fuck? Have a beautiful night.